the Bogus Otis Show. It's the only podcast dedicated to my buddy Sammy Hagar, that is. What is understood need to be discussed, especially if it's about Sammy Hagar. Yeah.
Every day, the game is ours to play. Oh, tell me why there are no alibis, because winner takes it all, loser takes the fall. Come win with us. Why? Because we are the world's only dedicated Sammy Hagar podcast. This is the Bogus Otis Show. I am Bo-host Brent. That is Bo-host Darren. And my friend, we are just weeks away from the big 40th anniversary of 5150.
That's amazing, right?
Wow, that's
my favorite album. My favorite album. We got
it is crazy.
Special
Look,
guest.
One of the most significant milestones in the arc of the Hagar era of Van Halen is the 40th anniversary coming up, the landmark album 5150. Crazy guest we have with us, originally from New Haven, Connecticut.
Yes.
He's an author. He's a fitness professional. He's a former host of ESPN's BodyShaping. And oh, yeah, he was also on the cover of the 5150 album. Please welcome to the Bogus Otis Show, Rick Valente. Rick, welcome. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you guys for having me. I would love to talk to you about Van Halen 5150 album cover. It was amazing.
Look, the biggest question we have is, how is it that 5150 is about to celebrate its 40th anniversary, yet you're still only 45 years old? What's going on?
I wish. No, I'm going to be 68 in July. I'm getting older, and I'm blessed to be alive. Every day I wake up, I thank God I'm alive, and I try to make myself happy, because happiness is the real goal in life. So for me to talk to you about the Van Halen album cover and how amazing that amazing band was, I mean, those guys were incredible. And I'm just so grateful that we could talk about that, because when Eddie passed, it broke my heart. He was an amazing guy too. What a stud. So, and Van Halen, I can't believe it's 40 years. So we need to celebrate them. We really do.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And we want to hear about everything that's going on in your life. So New Haven born, but I think you've been a West Coast guy for a long, long time now. Where are you joining us for the show tonight? Tell us.
Okay, so I'm in Bartell's Harley Davidson place. They've been friends of mine for so many years. I bought 5 Harleys here. They're incredible guys. They treat me like family. And if you need a motorcycle, they have some of the most incredible new bikes, and they also have used bikes. So if you need a motorcycle, they'll take care of you. So
well,
it's amazing.
I'll tell you, Rick, we have a lot of listeners in the state of California. So when we publish this episode, we'll put links to the bike shop in there and promote them as well. Because, hey, it's all about helping each other, right?
It really was. And I grew up, listen, I was born in New Haven, Connecticut. I grew up in Ansonia, Connecticut, which is about 15 minutes away from New Haven. And I talk about this in my book. I was blessed to grow up there. It's just unfortunate because I was all around bikers, bankers, and drug dealers. So the thing was, they were giving us drugs in grammar school, mushrooms and pot. So bodybuilding saved my life, because back then everybody was doing drugs. And I try to tell the new generation, be so careful now, because a lot of the drugs in today's world can kill you because they have different things in them. So I keep always trying to tell this young generation, please be careful and don't trust whatever somebody's trying to give you. Be careful.
So we've seen a couple of interviews that you've done recently, and we're going to dive in and talk about the book specifically for sure. But one of the themes that we have heard and have come to know a little bit about your story is that early upbringing. And we know that you are often a product of your surroundings and the people that you're with. So kind of tell us about what was that moment or that turning point where you said, look, I need to move away. I need to change my life, or it's probably going to kill me.
Well, I grew up around a lot of gangsters and a lot of guys who like to fight. Everybody was fighting. And I talk about this in my book. My first day that I went to high school, I walked 2 blocks away from my parents' house to the bus store, the bus stop. And when I got there, this guy who was I think he was in high school for 3 years. So he came up to me and he goes, "Is today your first day?" I go, "Yeah." He sucker punched me, dropped me, spit in my face, and said, "Fuck you and your mother." I couldn't believe it, bro. And everybody laughed. The bus came, they all left. So when I walked home, my brother, who's 4 years older than me, came home and he said, "I heard what happened. You need to do something because if you don't, you're going to get abused every day." So what I did the next day, I put this pipe up my arm. I walked over to the guy and I said, "What'd you say about my mother?" Bang! I hit that son of a bitch. I dropped him. And from there on, all I got was, "Hi, Rick, how's your mom?" Everybody gave me respect. See, that's the neighborhood I grew up in. So you had to fight. Everybody was fighting for stuff. And in high school, we were doing drugs. And I talk about this in the book too. When I was around 19 years old, I was out of high school. I graduated. And a guy who lived 2 houses down from me, good looking guy, he was my age, 19. My mother calls me, "You need to find out what happened." I go, "What happened, Mom?" "Your friend put a shotgun in his mouth, blew his head off." And that's when I said to myself, there's got to be more to life than this. So that's when I talked to my father, and he said, "You need to move out of here, Rick." He said, "You need to do something with your life." So I moved to Florida. It was incredible. Florida was magic. I'm telling you, I was there in 1979. I was there for 3 years. Oh my God, Florida. I worked at this club called Summers. It was a great club with all these rock and roll bands in there, and all the college kids would come down. There was 300,000 college kids in that area, and they all had fun. We all had fun together. It was a beautiful time. I entered a few shows there. I won a few, and I knew I had to go. I had to be in California because I knew I had to go to Gold's Gym Venice because I wanted to enter Mr. Los Angeles. So I moved here in 1982. I entered Mr. Los Angeles in 1983. I won the light heavyweight class. It blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. And I talk about this in my book, and Rick Wayne came up to me backstage. He said, "Hey, Rick, how you doing? I'm a fan of yours." I go, "Wow, I'm a bigger fan of yours, bro." He's an amazing guy. He goes, "Well, Rick, what I'd like to do is put you on a cover of the magazine." I was shocked because growing up as a little kid, I thought, wow, someday if I ever become on the cover of a bodybuilding magazine, that would be incredible. I couldn't believe it. I got on one cover, and from then on, I started doing more covers. And Gold's Gym was so incredible. I mean, they had so many casting calls there. They had the Van Halen album casting call there. It was amazing. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So so you said that for the Van Halen 5150 casting call was at Gold's Gym. Did you have friends that were also
There was a
trying to get
ton
it
of guys.
too?
There were so many guys there. There was a line outside the door all the way up the street. I mean, there were hundreds of guys there, a couple hundred guys, all trying to get on the cover of Van Halen. And I
So
can't
how did
believe
it end up being you? Did you have like the physique, or did you bring that pipe and anyone try to get in your way? Bam, they're out.
no, no. What I did is I gave him the picture of me doing that pose for Mr. Los Angeles, and I gave him the picture of me on the horse. There's another picture in my book, and they must have liked it because a couple of days later, Derek called me and he said, "Rick, they booked you." And I was like, "Are you kidding me? They booked me?" I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. And we shot for 3 days. The first 2 days was so much fun. We were laughing, joking, and those guys were all incredible guys. They really were.
So they were all at the shoot at the same time
Yeah.
with you.
Yes.
Wow, okay.
And we sat together. I got pictures of that. We were sitting together on the thing, laughing. They were just cool. Eddie and his brother were so funny. We were laughing, talking.
Because I think I speak for Brent and also all the Van Halen fans. Are there outtake pictures from that day that have yet to be seen by the world?
There's some, I think I have some. I could send them to you, which would
Okay.
be funny.
Because we've
And
seen a few alts. There's a couple alts out there.
yeah, yeah. And you know what's funny too? Um, when they had right after that, they were doing a concert here in California, and I booked opening up a Gold's Gym in New York, and they already paid me for it, and I had to go to New York, and they asked me if I could come to the concert, and I wanted to come so bad, but I couldn't. So I felt so bad that I couldn't come because they wanted me to come to the concert. And I'll always feel sorry about that, but I wanted to, but I couldn't.
Well, you know what's interesting about that with where you initially hail from in New Haven, you know, of course, fans know that in August of 1986, kind of about two-thirds of the way through the tour, they did two nights at the former New Haven Coliseum, which ultimately ended up being the Live Without a Net
Wow.
concert video. So, did they ever invite you another time? Did you ever have a chance to go and see them live?
No, no, I didn't. No, I wish I went. They invited me and I couldn't. I was in New York and they were doing a show here in California.
Duty is calling, right?
I
Duty
know.
is calling.
No, I wish I went. I really wanted to go because I don't know if they were just going to put me in a front row seat or if they wanted me to get on stage with them. I don't know. I wish I went. Oh,
Now, how did you find that moment, getting booked for that gig and having obviously, you know, exposed to a different audience, being on the album cover, people starting to presumably recognize you. Did that help as a springboard to other
oh,
opportunities in your career? What do you think would have happened if that opportunity had not come your way?
you know, in life, we're blessed for the things that we do get. So I'm always so grateful and feel blessed that they booked me to be on the cover of 5150. And people freak out even now. Whenever I post that picture, they go, I can't believe that's you on there. That's you. Like people freak out over it because I don't know if there's any other bodybuilders in the world on a rock and roll cover. Is there? I've never seen anybody.
I think you're one of a kind. There's no question about that.
Wow.
That's true, right? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't
Um,
think of it.
so
Huh.
you've made reference a couple of times to your book and some stories from the book. So the book is called My Life's Ride. It is out and available now.
Yeah. It's on
What
Amazon. There's a picture of me on a motorcycle. And you know what? I want a lot of people to read it because I want them to understand about life. Because I understand the world is different now and a lot of things don't make sense. So I want people to understand we have to train our mind as much as our body because our thoughts create our feelings and our feelings create our actions. So that's why so many people are so unhappy because I believe they're watching the news too much because so many things don't make sense. So if you do that, you're just punishing yourself. So I talk about, like I said before, every day you wake up, thank God you're alive and you got another day. Do whatever makes you happy, but also try to make your friends happy. Try to make people happy because that's a beautiful feeling. It's a great feeling when you make other people happy. That's life.
what you know what's really interesting is you know we don't like stereotypes and we don't like labels, and you know, again, I think that's one of the biggest pitfalls in life is everyone judges other people.
Yes.
And you know, for you to be telling the stories that you are in your book and taking the perspective that you have, placing the importance on relationships and on, you know, being thankful every day, you know, I think it's probably a fairly common conclusion for the average person out there to go, oh, big muscle bound bodybuilder, you know, probably just a jerk and arrogant and, you know, all of these things. So how has it been for you kind of spending the time that you have in your life, not even just in the process of writing the book, but as you think about the last few decades of you crafting your life and being the person that you are, how have you broken down that stereotype of, oh, just big muscle bound jerk who's going to be mean to everybody? Because I'm sure that's probably you've probably encountered that a lot.
No, absolutely. So a lot of people put you down, and I understand we all have our own opinion, and you have the right to think any way you want to think. But for me, I like to make people happy, and I like to fix people when they have problems. So when I did the show on ESPN called BodyShaping, we shot for 10 years. It was the #1 show in the world. We had over 3 million viewers a day. And back then, we didn't have cell phones and stuff, so we would get letters where all these people would ask us different questions. Some were overweight, some were underweight, some were crippled, some had broken legs. We would try to help them any way we could to make them feel better and to get the results. And I try to tell people, when you have a passion, you're going to make it happen, because that's what makes you unstoppable. So body shaping changed my life even more, because I love to help people. And wherever I went, people knew who I was, because I've been on TV for so long. Hey, Rick Valente, hey. And they would all ask me questions. How do I eat? How do I train? How much cardio do I do? And I let everybody know we all respond a little differently. So if you try all these different ways to work out, different cardio, different eating, you'll find out what works for you. See, so some of these guys out there online now, they say, do my way, do it my way. No. Try different things and see what works for you. There isn't one workout that works for everybody. I've learned that a long time ago. Power lifters train differently. Boxers train differently. Basketball players train differently. Football players train differently. Bodybuilders train differently. There's so many different workouts. So whatever you want to achieve, you could research so many different things and try different workouts and see what works for you. And the same thing with eating. Everybody eats a little differently. Me, I eat a high protein diet. I don't eat a ton of carbohydrates, because as I gotten older, I look better when I'm leaner. So for me, it works. And I do cardio every day. I challenge myself to get at least 5,000 to 10,000 steps a day. It works for me. It's good for your heart and your lungs. So if you're aging and you're not feeling really good, try to challenge yourself to do more steps. You don't have to run all over the place. Just walk. It's good for your heart and lungs. So I try to help so many people to understand this.
You're super positive, man. I love that about you. So I got to ask, so one of the other interviews that Brent and I were listening to, you were saying, this book, we're all on our own journey, but if you don't write it down, no one's going to know you existed. No one's going to know your story, right?
Yeah.
What
Yes.
was there a specific catalyst? Did you lose somebody in life?
I did,
What kickstarted you to write this book?
because I lost so many people, and I don't want to start crying. Gregory Hines, he was amazing. He died young. And then, like I say, I lost Jimmy Kahn, Ray Liotta, Tanya Knight. I was engaged to her. She was beautiful. She's gone. So this is why I try to tell so many people in the world, when you start getting a little older, it's a beautiful thing to start thinking about how to write a book about your life. And start where you were born. All you got to do is get a little recorder, sit in your house somewhere, and just where you feel good, all you do is record it. And then you can plug it into the computer and it types it up. So I talked about where I was born. I gave so much love and respect to my parents, 2 Italians who showed love and respect every day. We were little kids. Whenever we were going out, my dad would say, "Open the door for your mother." My dad always made us open the door, let mommy go first. Whenever daddy came home from work, my mom would take his shirt off in the kitchen and scratch his back. And we'd all sit there and go, oh. So they showed love and respect every day. And I just want people to understand, talk about where you were born, talk about your parents, talk about where you grew up, what you've learned about life, what friendships you really developed, and what your passion was to create something. Because everybody has a little bit of a different opinion about whatever they want to be. Whether you want to be a bodybuilder, an actor, whatever. Whatever you want to be, you could be if you're passionate about it, because you'll be unstoppable. I talk about when I was 12 years old, I created a vision board in my parents' basement downstairs. It was a huge wall. At first, I started with karate guys because I was into karate. So I put this vision board up with all these karate guys. And then when I started working out, I said, well, I want to be a bodybuilder. So then I created a bodybuilding wall vision board with all these top bodybuilders in the world. And whenever I would work out and look at them, it made me work out even harder. And I really believe that's what really got me going.
That's awesome.
So obviously, keeping in good shape, whether you're younger and competing, whether you're at this age and stage of life, and the importance still on health and fitness. We want to talk to you a little bit about food, and we like to talk about food and a few drinks here and there sometimes too when we're on the show, because Sammy is such a food guy, has always been. He has his beverage companies. He's quite a good cook. He's got his own garden at his house, all of these things. So it's funny because you strong Italian upbringing, and you said, boy, I don't eat carbs anymore, and those things don't really go together, as we know. But
Well, no, the thing is, my mother was an incredible cook, and she cooked everything every day. And we were blessed to have that. But as I've gotten older, the way I eat, what works for me, in the morning, I have 6 eggs on top of greens, just, greens. And I eat that. Then about a half hour later, I have a protein shake with creatine in it. Then I go to the gym. I have a great workout. I come home. I have a piece of salmon with maybe a yam. Then 4 or 5 hours later, a piece of chicken, maybe with a little potato. See, this is what works for me. But on Sundays, I eat whatever I want. Spaghetti and meatballs. I mean, I eat whatever I want on Sunday, and it works for me. So I'm just telling people, see what works for you. For me, I eat pretty lean. So like I said, turkey, chicken, once in a while, steak. And vegetables are really healthy for you. So you can get those big boxes of greens mixed together, and you just open them up and you grab it, put it down, and you put the eggs on top of it. And then I just eat them. I love it. It's really good. And
That's
I know
amazing.
everybody responds differently and eats differently. So this is why I keep telling people, you got to find what works for you. There isn't one size that works for all of us. So for me, that's what works for me. I eat about 4 meals a day, but it's just like I said, in the morning, it's the 6 eggs with the greens. And then, like I said, after I go to the gym, I'll have either a piece of salmon or some white chicken, whatever it is, with a little bit of potato, a yam. I like yams too.
Did you
Epic.
pay attention when your mom was cooking as a kid? Did you pick up cooking skills? Did you
Oh,
learn from
absolutely. I
her?
love to cook. Any girls I date, I do the cooking. I love to cook. I cook all kinds of food. I love to cook. And like you said, whenever I do that, I create nice appetizers. I create a good meal and a dessert. And if they want wine, I'll give them a nice little glass of wine. And everybody seems to be so happy because we all love food. Food makes you feel good. But now also remember, fasting a few days can really help you too. So I'm just saying, research it, check it out. But a lot of longevity doctors will tell you, start with just one day of just drinking water. Because what happens is anything that's going on in your body that's not good, when you don't eat food and you just drink water, it heals it. Research it. And I know a lot of people will disagree and say this or that. Just research it. Because I know people who will do that for 3, 4 days. And whatever they had that the doctors say they got this and that, they get a blood test, it was healed. So just check that out. You might like it.
That's awesome, man. So I gotta ask, this is the low-hanging fruit question.
Yeah.
What's on Rick Valente's workout playlist? And
You know,
part B, how much Van Halen is on that list?
I love to listen to Van Halen because every time I listen to it, the music was incredible. the 5150 is one of the most amazing albums they did, but everybody has their own opinion. I like it a lot, but for me, what I do is I train one body part a day. Okay. And then, so for me, one day is arms, and I do high reps because, see, I tore my hamstring, I tore my pec, and I broke my neck. So when you train heavy, most people have surgeries. They all do. I'm telling you. So as I get older, when I try to train real heavy, my joints just don't like it. So back in the 80s and 90s, I was around all these incredible bodybuilders. A lot of them liked high reps. So what I do, this is what works for me. I know a lot of people aren't going to like this. I do 50 to 100 reps. So when I'm doing 50, I train my arms. I do triceps and biceps. I superset them. So what I do, 50 reps, and then I flex in between sets. When you flex your bicep and flex your triceps in between sets, it blows up. And for me, 50 reps of each set works incredibly well. The burn and the pump will blow your mind. Then the next day, it's legs. So I try to train a little lighter, but I do high reps. And the burn and the pump is amazing. The next day, it's chest. So now I do the same thing, 50 to 100 reps with lighter weight. And when you do that, I'm telling you, the burn and the pump you get when you really challenge yourself to count, it'll blow your mind. See, when you train heavy, I know it's great to train heavy, right? You do 6 to 8 reps, but the pump you get is not like high reps. High reps is amazing. If you try it, you might really like it. And don't forget, I always say everybody responds differently. So I'm not saying everybody's got to train like me. I'm just saying this is what works for me. Because after now chest day, the next day I do back. And so when I train back, here's what I do. On the machines, I'll do 30 reps with one arm, 30 reps with another arm, and 30 reps together. The burn, and so it's a 90 rep set. It's amazing. I love it.
Okay, so you said you usually will do often 50 reps.
Yes.
What about 51 reps? Because you got to do 51,
No,
5150,
absolutely.
right? Got to be 5150. Come on.
If I'm listening to 5150, I do 51 reps.
Yeah, there you go.
The thing is, when you challenge yourself to do high reps, it's a great escape from the world because you can't think of anything else but challenging yourself to count it and do it. That's why I love working out like that. It's like you're really in a challenge to yourself. You count. I was training this girl one day, and we got to this ab machine. And I said, I'm going to do 50 to 100 reps. And so I did 50 to 100. She did 150. And I loved it. I said, okay, I'm going to do 200. I did 200. She did 250. I said, okay. So I did 300. And we challenged so much. We had a blast. And when you do high reps, I got to tell you, Arnold said this years ago. When you train like that, it's like an orgasm. I'm telling you, when you challenge yourself to do all those reps, the burn you get, it's an amazing feeling. And I love training with this girl because she was very competitive. And I love people like that. She was amazing.
So off the top of the show, I quoted some lyrics from Winner Takes It All, which was a single that Sammy recorded as part of the movie Over the Top in 1987, which was just a matter of months after the 5150 tour had ended. And so the end of the music video in Winner Takes It All, Sammy goes and does an arm wrestling competition with Sylvester Stallone, who starred in the movie. And of course, Sammy beats him. I don't think he really beat him, but it's Hollywood, right? So have you ever arm wrestled with Sammy, and who won if you did?
No, I never did. I wish I did, but I never did. He was amazing. Listen, I tell you, that guy's amazing. He does so many things, and I really see it. He really enjoys other people too. And that's the beautiful thing with famous people. When you talk to other people and you make them happy, that's the beautiful thing, because whenever somebody brings up their name, these people go, wow, I love him. He's amazing. And that's why I try to tell so many people, don't be so rude and angry, because God forbid if anything happens to you, people are going to trash you. And that's what's sad. I know so many famous people who passed away, and online people are trashing them. And I'm like, he passed away. Don't say anything negative about a guy who passed. That's not right, but people do it.
So Sammy is 78 years old now. He turned 78 back in October.
Wow.
He is still playing music, still doing shows,
God,
still as busy as ever. Um, Sammy will probably listen to this episode. He'll probably hear it. So
thanks.
is there anything that you would love to say, kind of looking at 40 years later, message from Rick to Sammy?
Just, Sammy, I love you. Thank you. I'm a big fan of you. And I'm grateful, and I'll always feel blessed that I'm on the cover of 5150. And I'm a big fan of you.
That's pretty
Love that.
awesome, man.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So I wanted to ask you, we keep coming back to this theme and foundation around, setting goals and motivating people and being positive and being respectful, all of that.
Yes.
If we asked you, what do you want to be remembered for? What do you want Rick Valente's legacy to be? What would you say?
I hope I hope they say, he did so many things and he was so generous to people and he helped a lot of people. For me, that's all. I think that's beautiful because that's what life's about. And like I say, Hulk Hogan, when he passed, people were trashing him, saying nasty things about him. I was like, this guy's an amazing guy. He was incredible. And this is what I'm saying. Certain people didn't like him. I don't know why. I think because maybe he liked Trump. I don't remember. But what's crazy is I just want this generation to understand, please try not putting people down. I know people disagree with everybody, and you have your own opinion. God bless you. But when someone passes away, please don't trash them. That's wrong. Okay? When someone's gone, do not say negative things about them. I see that and I just shake my head and I realize the people who are saying those negative things, it just tells me they're not happy. They're very unhappy people because unhappy people will say all negative things about other people. And that's when you understand. I want them to understand the way you talk about other people, it doesn't really say much about them. It says about you, the way you're thinking, the way you're feeling about your life. That's why a lot of people aren't happy. And I think social media and the internet and all this stuff has everybody challenged so much to keep posting themselves every day, 2, 3 times, because they want to be a superstar when they got 1 million followers. And that's the challenge in today's world because that's what it's all about now. A lot of people who didn't really do anything, but they bought fake followers and they got a few million, they're superstars. So I understand it's different. I'm just saying, try to be respectful to other people and don't trash them, please.
Super positive messages, man. I love it.
Wise words.
Yeah. So I got a kind of a fun story I want to share with you. You seem like someone, Brent and I were listening to a lot of your different interviews, and you seem like a very spiritual person with a big heart, right?
I am, man.
So when I went to go get my Van Halen tape off the shelf for this discussion with you,
Yeah,
I was listening to one of your interviews, and you mentioned somebody who actually means a lot to me.
yeah.
So I want to show you this. That's Gregory Hines.
Oh, Gregory Hines.
And
You're my
I
best
love this movie called Running Scares. A lot of listeners may know this movie. It's one of my
Yeah.
favorite movies, and I thought he was a fantastic talent who died too soon. Okay.
Gregory Hines, he came to me in the early 80s at Gold's Gym, and he came up to me and he goes, Rick Valente, I'm a big fan of you. And I laughed and I go, I'm a bigger fan of yours. And he goes, well, listen, Rick, I want you to train me. I go, really? He goes, yeah. I go, okay. He goes, well, how much? I go, how's $40? He goes, no, how about 75? That's what an incredible guy he was, because he was getting ready for movies. And I guess he knew the movie place would pay for his trainer. So I said 40. He goes, no, 75. So he was giving me 75 for every workout. And we developed a friendship where he took me to all these incredible things, movies and stuff he was doing. He would take me there with him. And then we would fly around the country and go to bodybuilding shows because he was so into bodybuilding. And he was such a talented, amazing guy. He was helping me get ready for shows for posing. He was showing me different ways to pose because he was an incredible tap dancer. So Gregory Hines became one of my best friends for so many years. And when he passed away, it broke my heart. And I went to his funeral with his father because I was friends with his father too. So I sat next to his father, and when his body is out there and the priest is talking about him, I started crying. And his father was kind of like my father. His father tapped me with his elbow and he said, Rick, stop crying. You could handle this. And I tried to. And then I talk about this in my book. What blew my mind, he was such an amazing, talented tap dancer, actor, singer. He took me to some of the singing movies he did with famous singers. So when we were at the funeral and the priest is talking about him, this little girl gets up and starts tap dancing around his body. And then before you know it, 15, 25 people are tapping and everybody starts clapping. It was amazing. And I believe he was in heaven just saying, it's okay. And he was a talented, talented guy. And his funeral was amazing. It was just amazing. I don't even know how to explain it. But the way all the people got up and started tap dancing around him, they were all clapping and just, he was an amazing guy. And
Well, Rick, I got something I got to tell you, man. I got to tell you because he seems like this. You just kind of explained what I was hoping you're going to say, because kind of going along with what you're saying about, paying it forward and respecting people. He's buried near where I live, ironically. He ended up buried near, and as a fan of his, I found out that he was buried quite close to us. So my wife and I went to see his gravestone and his wife's gravestone. But I'm not sure if he has a lot of family in the area, but it was not kept up to be. It was not. It was covered in kind of vines, and it needed a good scrub. So my wife and I cleaned it up one day. I made it sparkling new because I have great respect for him. I'm a huge fan of him. And probably about once a year we stop in just to drop some flowers and make sure his grave marker is spotless, because he was a great guy, man, who died unfortunately too soon. Next time we go, we'll leave some flowers and say, from Rick. I'm not sure what the odds are that as I go to reach for 5150, the tape beside it is the soundtrack to Running Scared that starred Gregory Hines, as I'm listening to your interview where you're saying you're friends with Gregory Hines. That's for you, man.
respect you for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Running Scared.
He's an amazing, amazing guy. God, yeah, so talented. He could do so many things. And every time he talked to people, they all laughed and loved to be around him. I mean, it was amazing. Whenever we went to dinner, girls would come over and just love him and talk to him. We would go to Vegas to boxing matches. He loved to watch boxing. See, I feel so blessed that in my life's journey, I got to develop friendships with so many amazing, talented people. I talk about this in my book. This is a Van Halen t-shirt. This is a shirt, Van Halen shirt.
So we've been looking at that. So for
Where'd you
our
get that?
listeners, you can't see Rick right now, obviously, but he's on camera and he is wearing a shirt that is a collage of every Van Halen album cover,
Nice.
including 5150, of course. So I mean, it seems to me like Van Halen is with you wherever you go.
I mean, if you want, I could pull this closer if you want to see the shirt.
That's pretty awesome.
This shirt.
Look at that thing. That's
when I wear
amazing.
this shirt, people flip out. They go, "Oh my God, I love that shirt. Where'd you get it?"
Rick, can we send you a bogus odor shirt?
You could send me anything, brother.
What size bogus odor shirt would you like, my friend?
You know, XL at least.
All right.
If they're made small, give me a double XL. It depends.
Double XL. Okay.
Yeah,
You seem like double XL, man. We'll
yeah,
get you a double XL.
cool, cool.
I
And
love
you know, I
that.
talk about this in my book. I developed a friendship with this guy, Joe Pitka. I met him at this party one night. I didn't know who he was. We started talking about sports. He loved sports. We started talking. And then when I was getting ready for Mr. California, I'm laying in the sun, right? All of a sudden, this guy comes over and he goes, Rick, this guy wants to know if you'll be in a commercial for him. I go, okay. I did a commercial with him. He is the most successful commercial director in the world. He's done over, I believe, 6,500 commercials. If you Google his name, you'll see.
Yeah, he's like the king of commercials, right? He's done more commercials than anybody else. Yeah.
I did a dozen commercials with him. I mean, I talk about him in my book. When I tore my pec, when I woke up in the hospital after the surgery, he's sitting there in the room. I go, how did you get here? He goes, Rick, I heard about you. He goes, I wanted to make sure you're okay. And I talk about him in my book. This is the guy, he's so talented. And we developed a friendship. When I tore my pec, he came there and he told me, Rick, you're going to be okay, because every time in life when something happens, you can still move forward. Sometimes one thing closes and another thing opens. He said, don't worry, you're going to be fine. And he left an envelope right by the bed in the hospital. And when he left, I looked at the envelope. What is this? I opened it up. $3,000 in it. He gave me $3,000. This is what I'm talking about. So then after, like when I left the hospital, I tried to pay the bill for the hospital, the surgery. He paid it. I'm telling these younger
That's a friend.
the real friendship you develop will blow your mind. When you do so much you can for them, they do so much they can do for you. And I talk about him in my book. We became such great friends, and he made a ton of money. And he was a great car collector because he knew I loved cars too. So one day he had a dozen cars, and he says, Rick, I can't park this car in the garage anymore. Can you take it? Sure. Well, what do you want? He goes, take the car. I go, really? A Bentley. It was beautiful. Had it for 4 years. And then he called me up. He goes, okay, I could take the car. I said, great, take it. I couldn't believe it. I would drive that car and people would think, wow, it was an amazing car.
Look, before we close with you, two questions. One is, where can people find your book? Where can they find
Yeah.
you? How do they connect with you? And the second question is, what would be your message to the kids of today? Because it's a crazy world out there, and a lot of people say things are kind of upside down. So,
Yeah.
how do we find you, and what's your best piece of advice for the young generation?
You know, my book is on Amazon. It's $14.99. It's $15. It's called My Life's Ride, Rick Valente. Um, it'll help you think a lot about life, and I hope people enjoy it because a lot of people do. And as far as what you're doing with your life, I just want everybody to understand. I know when you're young, you never think about this. When you start getting older and your parents are in heaven, your brother's in heaven, all your friends that you really loved are in heaven, you understand we all leave this earth. Nobody lives forever. So when you understand that, try to challenge yourself every day you wake up. Thank God I'm alive, and do what makes you happy. Try to challenge yourself to really do what makes you happy. And so if you can make other people happy, that feels really good. When I make other people happy, I feel good. And sometimes when I'm driving around and there's so many poor homeless people in the streets begging, every now and then I stop, I give them $10. I feel good trying to help them because I feel terrible for them that I don't know how these homeless people live. I don't know how they eat food. How do you go to the bathroom? How do you brush your teeth? I really feel terrible for them. And I don't understand how California is letting them all live on the sidewalks. Anyways, I don't even want to get into it because I know everybody thinks differently, but I feel sorry for the homeless and I try to help them as much as I can. But that's what I'm trying to tell the new generation. Try to feel like happy, positive energy because other people, if you could make other people smile and think positive, trust me, you'll feel good. That's a real goal in life. Helping other people feels good. It's not just about you. And I know I know a half dozen billionaire guys who had billions of dollars, but the way they would talk to their wives and all their young kids are in therapy. I got a front row seat. Money doesn't make you happy. And I know a lot of people are obsessed with money, but it's not like your life is not just about money. Because when you pass, the money goes to other people, whoever knows where it goes to. That's why I'm just saying, just try to do what makes you happy and try to do what makes other people happy. That's my goal in life.
That's a great message and a great point to pause. Rick, Mr. 5150, we want to say, again, a big thank you for taking some time to chat with us on the eve of the 40th anniversary of 5150. Thank you so much for spending some time with us.
My pleasure. And thank you for having me. I love the way you guys talk to me. Thank you. And I'm going to post all the pictures I could find with me and the group of 5150 Van Halen. I'm going to post it. What day is the 40th anniversary?
It's March the 24th.
Okay, I'll write that down. March the 24th.
Yeah.
I have an Instagram page and I have a Facebook page, Rick Valente. I don't have a lot of followers because I'm not a real slick tech guy who does all that stuff. So if you want to see me on Instagram, it's called The Real Rick Valente because I found some guy who created a fake Rick Valente page. So I created my own page, The Real Rick Valente. So that's on Instagram and I got a Facebook page and I'm trying to post. I never had to market myself in my whole life. I did all these magazine covers and articles and TV shows and commercials. And now at my age, I'm supposed to market myself. So I'm trying, I'm trying.
Thanks, man. Some powerful words, man, from a powerful guy. So
yeah, go find Rick Valente. Go find My Life's Ride. Thank you again, Rick. And we close by saying, hey, you can dry your eyes and save all the tears you've cried because that's what dreams are made of. And we are the Bohos. Out.
Thank you.
The Otis Show is produced by Right Now Entertainment. Hosted by Darren Bristow and Brent Kinnair. With audio and production assistance by Andrew Wright and Record Ready in association with Right Now Entertainment. What is understood need be discussed.
Here we go. Wait, Sammy-centric podcast? Come on. You need a Michael Anthony podcast. Forget Sammy Hagar. Come on.